Hey guys, I'm behind a golf course right now, and this video is for anyone who is rich and successful but still failing in dating and with women. Now this is a very interesting topic for me, and I just want to cut straight to the answer. I hate waiting for answers in videos. So if you're in this situation and you assumed that it would just get you better with girls, obviously it hasn't. So here's the answer. You need to become better at a number of fundamental skills and traits that are attractive to women. Because women want more things than just how rich you are. And after a certain threshold of wealth, other things matter more. I mean, is that so hard to believe? You probably want more things than just one, two, whether in a potential mate or toppings on a hot dog or pizza, whatever it is. Maybe you want a girl who's not only pretty, but who can actually be smart enough to hold a conversation, or emotionally stable enough to take care of your future child, or maybe someone who is actually savvy with business or with caretaking or whatever it is. As you can tell, there are a number of other factors. Maybe you like someone who's funny or is relaxed and chill or can have a good time with you. All those different things. Maybe someone who likes to cook. Those things are things that anyone could want more of. And therefore, girls can want more than just money. And you have currently placed yourself in a situation where you're killing it in one trait, but you're doing really bad in the other traits. Can you see how this might be quite off-putting for a girl? Think of it this way. You meet someone and he is a candidate that you're about to hire for your company, and he's interviewing for this job, and this guy is really good at one thing. Let's say it is Microsoft Excel. But then you find out that he is completely disheveled. He hasn't brushed his teeth. He has crooked teeth. There's dirt all over his face. He's really obscene. He can't control himself. And so he curses a lot and he says a lot of inappropriate stuff. You can tell he hasn't showered in a long time. He's late to work. All those other factors are horrendous and so repelling that even though he's super good at Excel, which is what you want, you'd rather want someone who's well-rounded, or maybe well-rounded plus good at Excel. So here's some of the fundamental things, and this is mind-blowing and why I wanted to answer this question. Here's some fundamental things that you should consider fixing. One, are you a workaholic? Are you spending enough time, and that's free time, that's specific time for the relationship, or are you just blowing them off? I know that you probably, some people fake not having enough time to appear more powerful or busy or high status, but you can be high status and busy and powerful and show that off in other ways without having to resort to, blowing everyone off and working yourself to death. You can have a lot of free time and show that off in other ways. Two, another fundamental thing is your hygiene and grooming and fashion on point? I would suggest hiring someone who actually understands this, because you're typically pretty biased yourself and it's very tough to tell. You probably are thinking, oh, I'm pretty good with fashion and grooming, and you're really not. And this also applies to how organized you are in your home. If you are someone who is really bad with their room and organization to the point where, you're living in a garbage can, or you're just living in a place that's really disgusting and dirty, that's going to be really off-putting. So those are two big things. There's other things too. Are you at least average level of interest and fun? Are you funny and interesting? Can you actually hold a conversation, or are you really dull, boring, and so forth? Girls would rather talk to someone who can make them interested, can actually hold a conversation, and so forth. And if you're just this dead log and you can't say anything, and you're just like, yeah, I'm rich, that's not going to work. So ultimately, I answer this question because it's a very fascinating question, and it's something that has really made me think about how human interactions work. And the answer comes from a podcast called the Mating Grounds podcast, which uses a lot of science to back up all these different assertions made about male attraction. It's an incredible dating podcast that I discovered, and I don't think they really fully answer this question, so I'm really just curating it and giving them credit, because a lot of people are struggling with this, and I think it's something that should be addressed fully and answered truthfully. So that podcast and its counterpart book goes into a lot more detail on these factors. The book is called What Women Want, and it's very scientific, very thorough. And I just want to conclude with a simple quote from that podcast that really answers everything. And it goes something like this: a woman would rather have a guy who is above average but not super good at his wealth, his fashion, his grooming, his social skills, his emotional intelligence, and so on, versus a guy who's just really rich and bad at all these other things. So essentially, the answer is quite simple. A jack of all trades who is, moderately above average in many different fields beats out a guy who is really good at one thing, maybe it's how rich he is, and really bad at many others. And you don't have to look far for proof of this. There's plenty of really attractive women that you probably know or have seen on Facebook or so forth, or in person, and their boyfriends and so forth are not super rich. They're not making billions of dollars or even millions, but they have numerous areas of their life together. They have good friends, they're popular, they're well dressed, they have an athletic body, they make enough, a middle class income, and so forth. So keep that in mind. A girl would rather have a guy earning a middle class income who is well dressed, well groomed, interesting, fun to be around, with real friends, versus someone who is creepy, who doesn't have many friends, or isn't well dressed, and